Listen, feminists don't speak for all women, okay? You don't speak for all women. Not all women think like you, and not all women want to be radical feminists. Not all women share the same desires and the same goals as you do. But yet and still, feminists got the whole world thinking that Western women want to be like them or are them. So you go abroad and they think, oh yeah, you from America, you easy. I see those liberal videos and movies and everything that y'all be putting out. So I'm pretty sure you easy. You want to have sex? Let's have sex. Meanwhile, they don't realize that there's a lot of women who don't want to have sex or don't believe in casual sex. There's a lot of women who want to have children and want to be wives and only want to be that, a wife and a mom. There are women who don't believe in casual sex and hookups and want to dress modestly and don't think that female empowerment is showing their body. There's a lot of women who like alpha men and don't think that being an alpha male is toxic. Listen, you
You Eastern women are so oppressed by your men. What do you mean? I work and pay the bills equally with my boyfriend. I bet you are dependent financially on your man. That must be so sad when he looks down on your abilities. It's better to be an independent woman. My husband pays for everything I ask for, and I watch K-dramas when I want, and I have my own e-commerce business and rental income. Maybe we have a different definition of oppression, but I bought him a PS5 for his birthday and I'm going to be proposing to him at our 10-year anniversary. And I supported him throughout his drug rehab years. You women just gold dig. There is no word for gold digging in my language. You are supposed to marry successful men on men, and you don't even know it. Here is an application to be my co-worker.
So do you think there could be a time where there would be a Taliban president?
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Would that still include women's rights and a democracy? So would you believe in the democratic vote, though? So would people be allowed to vote in women politicians?
Stop being.
Okay, that's fine. You just want to answer it. That's all right.
You know, radical Western feminists always get me with the whole, oh, women in the West are underpaid. Women, we're still fighting for our rights. We need abortion rights. We need rights for this and rights for that and rights for this. And girl, bye. Do you know that if you're a woman in the West, you have a whole bunch of rights? You actually have way more privileges, way more freedom than many women across the world. I don't even understand why Western women buy into the lie that they are all oppressed and they are living under a patriarchy and all this foolishness that your liberal women's studies classes and universities are teaching you, and celebrities who are multimillionaire, billionaire women telling you that you're oppressed or they're oppressed. But y'all not fighting for the women in the East. There's women in certain countries that they still have to wear, but they have to wear things over their head. They can't dress how they want. They just started driving in Saudi Arabia, I believe. Girl, bye. Women genitalia being cut off.
Gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, I have had my experience with marriage, and I am currently in a marriage now. And I met my woman on a dating site, and she is from the Dominican Republic. And I moved her over here, and when I get off work and return home, there's always food cooked and sitting for me on the table. And it is the sweetest thing. And I have had plenty of women in the past, but this woman here really takes care of me. So I'm saying that to say this. I think the Western women are poisoned, and I think that you should consider going international, outside the West, maybe to the Dominican Republic or the Caribbean or Africa or somewhere.
Kill yourself right now. Then your catfish photo. To the side like a
I'm a feminist, so I believe female criminals should be charged with a harsher and longer sentence. Because right now we have what's called a gender prison gap, which means that a man is much more likely to be charged with a harsher and longer sentence than a woman who committed the same crime.
What's that one thing that sparked in your brain that made you question everything?
The day I figured out that my kid's teacher didn't know what the hell they were teaching. So I started doing some digging, probably way more than I should have. And I figured out that my teacher didn't know what the hell they were talking about either. And then the real hard pill to swallow comes. Who actually knows? I'll give you a second to ponder on that one, because only the real ones are going to know what I'm talking about. But after your eyes are open and everything's clear, you look around and you see that these pieces of garbage have done this in every aspect of life that there is. They have controlled and indoctrinated every aspect of life in some form or fashion. I'm talking about from the food you eat, to the celebrities you worship, to the politicians you vote for, to the job that you have, to the banks that you get loans from, the medicine that you believe you need, the stock market you invest in. I'm talking everything, people. Wake up.
An increasing number of Western men are looking for potential wives abroad. Why is that? Well, let's listen to a fresh perspective from a European woman about this.
There's also this big culture of Western men or foreign men moving to Thailand to date, to get wives, etc. And as a Western woman,
I started noticing actually the differences between the Asian women and the Western women, and I started to compare both of them. And why would that be that the Western men are going to Thailand to? Well, what I decided is that it's the women in Western world, they are so pushing for their rights and the manly woman that they forget to be women.
The one thing you don't see in the West anymore, and I was seeing it everywhere in the Ukraine, is that you'll see like 9s and 10s just walking around in the mall. They're all waiting around to get asked out on a coffee date. And the reason you don't see this in America is because 1, they're all working career jobs, and 2, they're all hungover, either hungover from dick or hungover from alcohol.
In America, and if you look at all the media now, right, look at all the music and stuff, like every music video, the girls are just whores.
There's strippers who rap lyrics that were written for them.
It has become a standard in America. Like,
you look at modern,
no shame in that.
A Cardi B music video today would have been considered pornography in the 1950s.
The amount of work that I have to go through as a parent to filter out this crap from a child, it's like off the chart nonsense, because they're getting hit with it. As soon as they have access to a screen, it's coming at them at 150 miles an hour. It's like a freight train, right? So they start devouring this stuff if you don't do something as a parent and put some kind of a wall between your kid and this nonsense.
When the sky comes falling, even the sun don't shine, I got faith in you and I, so put your pretty little hand.
Gender, not even real. Or biological sex. Whose idea was that? You may have thought that basic science / I-having informed you that male and female are genuine distinct categories. But alas, you're an idiot. Until recently, science told us that men had Y chromosome, male genitalia, the ability to get women pregnant, the blame for everything that ever goes wrong. And women had X chromosome, female genitalia, baby in her tummy, and lots to complain about. But all of this can be thrown out. Why? Well, first and foremost, those last things on each list were stereotypes I wrote as a joke, so let's just examine the first 3. Some men lose their anatomy, and they're still men. Also, some women are infertile, but they don't stop being female. Also, there are chromosomal abnormalities, which result in a person not having the usual XX or XY chromosome pair. Therefore, gender isn't real and everyone can go home. That's right, not every man is identical to every other man, and not every woman is identical to every other woman. Therefore, sex is a meaningless category which will only be done away with when we finally overthrow men. This is how definitions work. For example, you You may think a dog is different from a human because they walk on 4 legs, are less cognitively sophisticated than us, and don't use toilets. But guess what? Some dogs have 2 legs, and in California, humans don't use toilets either. I found some exceptions to the rule of a limited definition, so I guess the differences between species is a social construct after all. And what about intersex people? They prove that sex exists on a spectrum, because the word spectrum means everyone falls into 2 categories except for a handful of infinitesimally rare exceptions. But wait, you may be asking, I thought sex was defined as that procreative act between a man and woman, and that we label people male or female because their role in this act, or their sex, affects their role within the family and thus society, given that both institutions are literally built atop the sexual act. And isn't this a concrete fact which is totally unthreatened by some people's subjective view of themselves as being assigned the wrong gender? And to that I say, shut up! The facts are clear! Biological sex is a social construct created by men, and one day women are going to rise up against this tyrannical male oppression, and then us girls will finally be in charge. So you had better watch out with your arbitrary categorization of nonsense that doesn't exist, or us polygender asexual interpangea demimores will beat you senseless for not memorizing all of the new pronouns we just made up.
Hey folks, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this cartoon, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below, and donate at patreon.com/freedomtunes to help us make more. Thank you.
I want my trad wife Christian girlfriend with a sundress in a field of wheat. She'll have my kid.
The money from. Let me give you what should happen. I think all presidential candidates should be forced to wear NASCAR racing suits. You know why?
Why?
That way, when you look at Jimmy Johnson and you look at all the great Stewart, they got all the names of their sponsors right in front of you. That way you'll know who owns the candidate.